Right.
Perfect.
So there we are. So good morning, everyone. I apologize in advance for our late arrival. We had a little bit of a technology snafu, and as life goes, you had the frozen screen, and you're frozen. No, you're frozen, and so we are here with you live. So do you have a cup of something this morning, Stacy? What do
I
you
do.
got?
I have two. I have my black coffee, of course, and I also have some water. Nice.
Nice.
Love it.
Team black coffee. I swear
That's
to God, we're
right.
starting our own like little subset of the universe right now.
Right. Who knew there were so many of us?
I know, right? So today's mug of choice was Mama needs some coffee.
Nice.
It was a little bit of a late night last night because I don't know. I have teenagers now, and then when my husband comes home late, he got home, I guess, I don't know, 8:40ish from work last night, and then they all
Yeah.
want to chit chat, and then they all climb like in our bed, and so I'm I'm excited about that because they still want to be around us,
Of
and then
course,
at the same
right?
time, I'm like, can y'all just go to bed? I am tired.
Right. It's late now.
It's late, right? Like I am getting older. I don't, I can't party till 2 a.m. anymore.
Yep.
Oh, I really
You want to
want.
say to them, where were you at like 3 p.m. when I had a little time available?
Exactly, and you were too busy in your room doing whatever. Does anybody else have that trouble with their
Yep,
teenagers?
yep,
Let us know.
yep.
All right, so if you're here with us live, let us know in the comments below so we can say good morning. I'm just going to make sure that we are streaming. We should be good to go. Woo. Let's see. Let's see. Here we go. Ta ta ta. All right, we are live. All right, Kate said, Wahoo, team black coffee. Dana is with us this morning. Good morning. Mark is here with his black coffee. I'm telling you, we have our own little subset. It's black coffee drinkers take over the world. So,
Right.
so I am super excited to talk with Stacy this morning because this week it was all about trying to inspire people. In the beginning when we start our businesses, we feel like one, we're completely alone, two, we're doing everything wrong, and three, we have no idea what to do next. And so I wanted to bring all of these lovely folks on to share with you, where they began, how long they've been in business, and each of their individual experiences so that you can gain some knowledge from their experiences and of course what is working for them now, especially in this last year of COVID. It has absolutely been different, but I will tell you that COVID has also opened a lot of opportunities for people as well in business in different ways if you're willing to look at it in that way. So Stacy's story is interesting because when she started her business, she had a part-time job. And so Stacy joined my program last year in April. And at that time, she still had a part-time job. So, Stacy, first let's tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and what your niche is, and then we'll pick
Okay.
it up from there. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm Stacy Norris, and I live in Bedford, New Hampshire, which is southern New Hampshire. Um, and my niche is professionals. I'm finding that I'm helping professionals on the personal side and on the business side so much, a little bit. So I guess when I say professionals, I would mean, it means small business owners and entrepreneurs also.
Yeah. And what do you love about working with them?
Um, I feel like it's that, I love to be like a part of something else. And I think I'm really, I guess, empathetic, and I feel like I can really get behind what it is that they're trying to do.
Mhm.
And, I'm fine to be like a behind the scenes person. And I'm a firm believer in every little piece contributes to the big picture. So, whatever anybody's doing that's supporting someone on their mission, you're kind of part of their mission too. So I like to, I think that's one of the things I enjoy most about it. I feel like no work is really annoying or too small for me, or you know what I mean, because I feel like it's really helping them accomplish what they want to do.
Yeah, that is beautiful. And I will tell you, as someone who has some people in the behind the scenes for me, especially in the online business too,
Mhm.
and I have people behind me, and you all know Kate, who is here with us. She and Jen, who was with us for a really long time, and she and her team who are still available for us when we are doing big projects and stuff. And I will tell you, as that business owner, it is so invaluable to have that support. And like you said, to feel like I don't just have somebody doing things for me, like I have somebody who is believing in the mission, right? Believing in what
Right.
it is that we are doing, which then supports you in moving your mission forward and keeping things going. And it's an invaluable service. So just know that you're giving these people such great ease. So
Thank
as an
you.
entrepreneur with multiple businesses, I thank you for what
Thank
you
you.
do.
Well, and I feel like it's unique that I feel comfortable helping on the personal side and the business side because they get to choose. Like this week, it might be, I'm focused on this. Can you, help me find a new house cleaner? Or can you take care of this? That I can really kind of jump back and forth in whatever way they need support at that particular time.
Yeah, and that's important too, to know that it's a skill. One, it's a skill set, and it's a service offering that you enjoy doing, right? So some people
Mhm.
do it and they don't actually enjoy it. So,
Right.
we've talked multiple times about me like trying to do technology, spreadsheets and so forth, which was
Right.
not my thing. But I for a long time had business clients as well, and I would help them in their personal life and in their business, but I help them like in their business more in person, believe it or
Hmm.
not, because there were a lot of people that had lived locally to me, that they were growing businesses, they were entrepreneurs, and so I would help them from like packing and shipping things to clients, to calling people, to I even did like their support in inbox for a while, right? Because
Hmm.
that I could handle. So it's definitely it's a fun niche to work with if that
Yeah.
ends up
Yeah.
being your thing.
And
Yeah.
I'm definitely fine. I'm doing some of that in person, as well. Like for some of the things I'm, working administratively from home for some of their things, but I, handle the same thing, shipping. There's some inventory with items that need to be shipped out to employees sometimes. And, I'm the one that kind of handles if an employee needs a new device or something, I'm the one that, takes care of the shipping and any errands or anything that need to be taken care of as part of all that.
Yeah, that's so cool. So cool. Okay, so tell everyone. So when you started working, when you came and joined the program last year, you had just started your business. Where was your business then? This was like April of last year. I do know you had a part-time job. And where
Right.
were you with the business at that point?
Okay, so when I joined the program, I guess you could essentially say I had a client, but I it wasn't really within this realm. It's kind of something that is an old work connection of mine that I was helping them a little bit with some things. So I had that, and then shortly after starting the program, I really other option, other clients really kind of came out of the woodwork. And for me, I wasn't really even marketing initially in the beginning.
Mhm.
We talk about like believing and investing in yourself. Like I honestly believe that was the real key for me in the beginning because at first I joined the program. I really wasn't even doing anything yet, but just reaching that point that I believed and invested in myself. All of a sudden, this like networking that I had done over the last couple of years I was teaching children's etiquette for a while and I still do that in some programs in my town, and I started marketing that as a business at one point. And so a couple of the network organizations I was in, once they found out that I was doing this, the people I'd networked with for 2 years that nothing had ever come, I switched to a different type of business, and all of a sudden the referrals just started coming out of nowhere. Even though it was a brand new business, they already knew me and
Mhm.
from previous networking, and so they trusted me and made referrals to me right off the bat.
Yeah, that is so, so good. I love that. And when that was happening for you, I was like, yay, it's happening,
It it was unbelievable that I just, you even when you're doing the right things, I think that that willingness to take a step and say, I really don't think I can afford this right now, but like to believe in yourself enough to say, somehow I'm going to figure it out. Like somehow I'm going to figure out a way to pay for it or whatever. And, I think right around the same time I had been feeling crummy. So I invested in your program, and I invested in, like someone to help me with a little bit of health coaching, and I did both of those at the same time because I felt like I've got to take care of myself better in order to make this business work. So it was a real stretch to do both, but I just felt like somehow I'm going to make it work. And so I just did it. And I think, the universe, God, I feel like just that's when you're asking for things and then you take that extra leap in, it kind of comes back to you at that point.
Yeah, I completely agree. We talk about this a lot in the programs, and Lori, who was our guest on Monday morning, she did the same thing. Like when she joined the program, it was a huge leap of faith for her, right? So she was just starting. She had just lost her job. COVID just happened. Like all signs would have told her, do not do this.
Do this.
But she
Right.
was right. Like it's like, no, do not do this. It's not the right time. But she was like, I believe so much and I am willing. And it was such a huge leap of faith for her, as it's been for me too. Like when I've invested in programs and invested $18,000 in a program one year, I was like, oh, but right. But I
Right.
was like, but I believe in myself enough that I deserve the support and the help. Because a lot of
Hmm.
times it has to do with you deserving, right? Like, wouldn't you
Totally.
say that that's part of it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And believing and also knowing that you actually have something that's going to make a difference for other people. Like I feel like that was a piece for me too. Like I think when COVID happened, I felt like there's all these people who are juggling their kids at home now and their job or their business or whatever. And, they people need help right now. And, I finally reached a point that I'm like, I have to put myself out there, because I probably can make a difference for some people. And, so I think that was part of me believing in myself too, is
Mhm.
shifting a little bit and not just believing in me, like I believe I can make the money, but like
Yeah.
also that mindset that I believe I have something genuine to offer to people that they need.
Yes, so powerful. I think I've shared this with the members of my program before. There was a point in time when I was earlier in my business that I actually had my own disconnect. Like I was offering services, I was doing things for people, and, to be honest with you, like, I knew that the seniors that I had, I knew that I was impacting their lives. Like, I could see it because you go in and they're waiting with a hug and, sometimes slobbery kisses, which are my favorite, and, you know, like, in those moments, I always knew that I was making a difference, but to be honest, like, the families that I had and the busy professionals and stuff that I didn't actually I was like, "I'm not really making a difference in their lives," right? Like, I literally had this mind talk of my own that didn't
Right.
think that I was making a big difference, and I was struggling a little bit, right? And so, when I started to click and see, "Oh, yes, they do need help. They deserve help. When I come in, they have more time with family. When I come in, they have more family meals. When I come in, they're doing things that they've been putting off for, months and years." And like
Right.
when you start to see like you really are having such a tremendous impact on their lives, you have to see that for yourself. And you can't always expect to get that from them because some people are not words people, right? They might not tell you, "Oh my God, you made my life amazing," right? So sometimes you can't
Right.
expect to always hear that back. You just have to feel it and know it and own it for yourself. And when you can own knowing the impact that you're making for other people, that is also when things will shift for you.
Hmm.
So I think this is a really powerful conversation that will benefit a lot of people. So, so tell us. So you had a part-time job then in
Hmm.
April, and then you kind of switched. You opened the doors. You were like, and again, I love what you're saying. You were like, there are people out there that need me. And I remember last spring when everybody was like, I was offering programs and I was offering, you know, like I had a couple different programs I was offering back then, and people were like, I can't do it now because I don't think that there won't be any business. Or there were other people that came to me and were like, should I put my business on hold from opening my doors? And I was like, no, 100% no. Like, this is the time. Like, find the areas of people who do need you. Again, it might not look exactly the way you thought it was going to look in that moment, but the opportunities are there. And it was so smart of you to even believe that for yourself. Like, there are people out there, they're homeschooling, right? Like, a lot of people aren't thinking about that. They're homeschooling
Right.
and running businesses and they need some help, right?
Right.
So, I mean, it was so smart of you as well to just like be like, there's an opportunity and I'm going to go fill the need.
Hmm.
Yeah, so powerful. So tell us then, the part-time job back in April, you joined the
Yep.
program, you opened the doors, and then how did you um tell us, before you tell us when you left, because you left your part-time job and dove right in and dove full-time into your business. Before you
Yep.
tell us about that, tell us, for people who might be trying to juggle too, how did you
Right.
like realistically do that? What did that look like for you?
So I had set hours for my job. Ideally, I would have loved to have had work days and then business days, but the job commitment was 4 days a week, from maybe around like 8:30 until around 3 ish. So that was a little bit of a struggle because I was very defined in when I could fit in the business things,
Mhm.
but I just, there was a time, like one of the first clients I had me helping with some, actually, that wasn't one of the first ones because a little later in the summer, because I did actually go into their home and help with some organization. And for them, I was trying to, we agreed to do these in like 3 hour blocks that I was going to go in and help them
Mhm.
organize. And it was a struggle for me. Like I ended up having to do, like there were days that I, missed dinner with my family in order to, I would work my work day and then I would sometimes go there. They were about 45 minutes away from me.
Mhm.
So I just kind of, spoke with my family and, we all agreed at that time that it was a priority for me and I had their support. So that, was a blessing for me. And we really kind of agreed that, these were the windows. Like it was usually, after the workday, I would try to maintain like say a full-time workday and work on business things up until like 5 or 6.
Mhm.
And then the same thing on that day off that I wasn't going in to the other job, I was able to, fill in on that day with whatever I needed to do. Um, so it was a lot,
Mhm.
and I reached a point, the job knew that I was building this business. And, I'd given them, a heads up at one point, just because when I started marketing, I didn't want it to be like weird to them. So I let them know. And then as it continued quicker than they or I expected, I got to the point that I told them, you probably need to start looking to replace me because I've actually been doing this many hours. I think I'd been doing, maybe a good another 10 hours a week in the business outside of the job. And they were like, I had no idea you were, actually doing that.
Like, you're doing it.
I would kind of found a way. So I think they didn't even realize I had taken on other work, and so when I went to them, I said, you need to probably start looking if you want me to help train because I'm managing a lot right now and I'll do it for a little while, but I can't sustain this, for a long time. And so then, they started looking and, I did actually have to like really end up, I was trying not to give them a date. I was trying to give them time, but I did end up having to put a date down just because I was really, feeling stretched. And so, I ended up officially giving them like an end date. And I think that ended up working well for both of us because it pushed them to really have to make a plan for themselves too.
Yeah, and it makes and it helps you make the decision, right? It's like that the lingering can just kind of end,
Right.
right?
Right.
And then you can
Yeah.
plan forward than that. And I love what you said too, because this is something that I did in the beginning as well. And I still kind of do it now, but now it's different because my kids are older. So my
Hmm.
youngest is 15. And so they're not little kids anymore. But when I had first started and they were younger, if I needed to do something in the evening, or because I didn't have any childcare then, and so I was like piecemealing it all over the
Yep.
place. A
Yep.
lot of time, my son went grocery shopping with me a lot in the beginning, in between like
Mhm.
preschool and after school, and that's what I would do too. My family knew what I was trying to do and what I was trying to accomplish, and so I would literally ask them, "Hey, look, I have this client who needs blah 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 on Saturday, right? Like I don't typically work Saturdays and Sundays. And
Mhm.
I set my business up like that in the beginning. I know a lot of people, especially in the concierge industry, they do Saturdays and Sundays because they should be available all the time. But that was not the business model that I had wanted to build. But in the beginning, I was kind of doing it, but I would ask the same thing. I would say, "Hey, is it okay?" And they would, and if I could be from these hours, and they'd say, "Okay, mom, yeah." And when you come home, will you play a game? I'm like, "Yes." And when I come home, we will play a game, right? So
Right.
if you have younger children, getting your kids involved, right? And even if they're not younger, just getting them involved in what you are building will also change everything about the experience that you are having with it, because it's less of that feeling of you choosing between two forces, right? Family and
Right.
business, when they are part of the business.
Mhm.
And how old are your children?
Mine, I'm similar. So I have two that are away at college, and we have one at home still, and she's 15.
And
So
she's
they're
15.
similar to your kids.
Yeah.
She, I think, just through all of the weirdness of COVID, last year needed some support in that way,
Mhm.
a little bit with school and so forth. But once she kind of settled into that reality, then, she was fairly independent, I mean, pretty independent with her schooling and stuff. So, I do realize that, is a blessing potentially compared to someone who has little kids at
Mhm.
home. Um,
Mhm.
but, I am a firm believer in, if you want it bad enough, like, you can find a way. Like, there were nights
Absolutely.
that, like, I missed, some of the live trainings in the beginning because I couldn't shift, my
Mhm.
work hours to do that. And so, it was not uncommon for me to be up at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, like, watching a training or
Mhm.
working on something that I wanted to work on the computer.
Yeah.
I really just kind of fit it in wherever I had to. And I just, believed that I can handle anything probably for like a short period of time. And
Yes.
I'm just going to go all in for now and figure out how to make it work. And then at some point it is going to settle. And, I figured if I reached a breaking point for myself or my family, then we would revisit. But for a little bit, it was just kind of, you know, I really tried to keep the evening with them. But again, I was often back at my desk late at night
Mhm.
doing things.
Yeah, and I did a lot of that, in the earlier age time as well, because then, it's dinner and then bath time and bedtime, and you had the bedtime routines and things, and then when they would all go to bed, then I would dive back into, figuring out and signing up for my networking and following up with people and
Right.
all the stuff as well. And I love what you said too, like I can do anything for a short amount of time. So I know a lot of people get into it and they're like, I can't handle this, da 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 da. And if you just rethink about it and just say, I can do anything for 30 days, right?
Mhm.
Like right now we are in the launch mode for Spark Live. So from now through like the middle of March, so we'll say through about March 26th, I am required to put in more time. I am required to put in more hours. There's a lot of behind the scenes work that goes into it and so forth. And my family knows it too. And they're just like, "Oh, we're in launch mode." And I'm like, "We are in launch mode, family." Right. So they will pitch in more. And like you said, now they're older now. So they know, and like Emma, they're part of it. So Emma, writes everybody's names on the board. And so and that's what I just tell them, right? And then I have a reward planned for at the end, right? So when it's all
Right.
over, then I get, we all have a family reward together. And so sometimes you have to put small mini benchmarks in your business. So
Mm.
that's why I wanted to say that, because, there are going to be times in the business where you will have a lot less sleep. Like that's why I had a lot less sleep last night. And so you have less sleep, but again, it's for a finite amount of time in the grand scheme of all of it. And it's not
Right.
about having to hustle your way to the top, but it's also about, these are my circumstances. I have a part-time job. I've got, family, and I'm in the beginning phases of building the business and having to balance all of that.
Right.
So, so when did you skip out on your job? When did you leave your
So
job?
I left the job in like the beginning, or I think the middle of October. I think like the 15th was my last day. So I left the
Okay.
job on the 15th. So since the middle of October, I've been full time in the business, and it's good. It's good. I honestly feel like I'm probably maxed out a little bit. Right now, I actually had a conversation with someone this week about, you know, probably having someone help me a little bit. I
Someone
feel
help
like
you?
I don't have myself completely prepared for that yet from a
Mhm.
fundamental standpoint. So, I think because I was balancing a job and starting the business in the beginning, there was not a lot of CEO time. It was pretty much
Yeah.
like all work
All
time.
work time. Yeah.
And so, I'm going back now and kind of trying to like rebuild the foundation and get things organized and have
Mhm.
processes written and so forth so that I feel like I'm better prepared
Mhm.
to have somebody help me.
Mhm.
But I have a new client coming on that I really probably can't manage myself. And I've really kind of tried to focus. I don't have a large number of clients. I
Mm.
have clients that have kind of more hours. You know what I mean? Like everybody, I don't think I've had any person do like any a la carte, type of thing. Like I have packages and everybody's pretty much on packages or like on like an ongoing monthly situation. So I don't have a lot of clients. So I think depending on how you're trying to structure, that's something for people to understand too. And I remember you quoting a number at one point in one of our trainings or conversations, or maybe in the
Yeah.
Facebook group, that it doesn't take a large number of clients
Right.
sometimes to get going. It just depends on who's your client. Like, if my ideal client was somebody who wanted to like partner with me, not
Mhm.
somebody who wanted to call me for like a
A
one-off
little here and a little
situation.
there. And
Right. Just because for me, I felt like I don't want to have to do all the paperwork and all this stuff over and over. And, um, so that's kind of really sustained me to this point a little bit too. I haven't really done marketing because the clients that I have enough hours, so now that more clients are coming, I need help and I need to start. Now I definitely need to switch and focus more on marketing because I want to maintain now that I'm looking at having somebody start helping me.
Mhm. So good for everyone to hear. Um, what was I going to say? I was going to say about yeah, you were talking about the number, right? So I shared with everyone in the group the one time when I made over $100,000, I asked them all, how many clients do you think I had? And they were like, oh, 20, 40, 50, all these crazy numbers. And I was like, I had 16 clients. 16 clients over 100K
Right.
because the same thing. I had built a business model that I did not want it to be an hour here, an hour there, 2 hours here, 2 hours there. And that's great for some people if that's the business model that you want to build. But for me, that would not have been sustainable. And especially when you bring on team, your team doesn't want to get paid. Let's say, for example, you're paying your team even $15 an hour, right? And they are doing a 1 hour job, but it's 30 minutes away. So then they're basically making $15 for a 2 hour job,
Right.
right? So you have to begin, like, when you begin to scale and leverage your business, these are all the things you have to begin to think about that most people don't think about in the beginning. And in the beginning, especially when you are trying to just like get clients, you're willing to say yes to all these like onesie twosie kind of things. And I very quickly tried to shift from these onesie twosie things into more consistent clients. So I went to packages, and then from there I created a membership model, which is what I teach everybody in the program as well. So, so does anybody have any specific questions for Stacy? I'm going to refresh our screen here. If you have questions for Stacy, pop them in and I can ask them to her live. All right. Amy said she is delighted to be here and hear about Stacy and her journey and her lessons learned. All the stories inspire me, and she's got her cinnamon spice tea this morning.
That sounds pretty good too,
Awesome.
actually.
What's that?
That sounds pretty good too,
I know it
actually.
does sound good, doesn't it? Right? All right, so let's just let that refresh again a minute because sometimes there's a little bit of a delay. And then, it was interesting that, so I saw you yesterday on our Spark Live attendee list, and you were not able to join us in the fall because you had at that time the job and the business. So you're trying to
Right.
balance both of them. Excuse me. And that was like right, it was probably just 2 weeks or so before you had left your job
Yes.
as well. So
Right.
you're already, you already have this amazing business and clients are coming and you are joining us. So why are you joining us if you have such an amazing business?
I feel like really any interaction that I have with the CA world, the CA group, is beneficial to me. I feel like we all learn so much from you and also from each other.
Mhm.
That I don't know. It's just something I feel like I can't miss. You
Can't
know what I mean? I
miss.
just feel like there's gonna be nuggets there. Especially now that I feel like the CEO type, things are most important for me right now.
Mhm.
And I have to find a way to I have to prioritize that and fit those fit that time in consistently. And and I think to trying to take this next step now with bringing on someone to help me, I just want to handle this right and, make sure I'm, kind of ready to go. So I just feel like any connection that I have with you and with, others who have done this already
Mhm.
before me is beneficial.
Awesome. I love that. And yeah, and I love having the group there too because the group is so loving and caring that they really support each other. Whether you're part of our programs, not excuse me, not part of our programs, we just really attract some really amazingly delicious people that are so awesome. So let's see. And then, of course, if you have not gotten your tickets yet to Spark Live, you can get them at theconciergeacademy.com/Spark Live, and you can still get your tickets at the early bird price of only $97. So let's see if anybody else has any questions here. I'm not seeing any questions, but let me pop out and come back in because sometimes it requires that. All right, all right. Let's see. Let us see. All right, where are we? Okay. Let's see. Mark said, I've never been called delicious before. You are delicious, Mark. All right. So I don't think I see any specific questions in here.
Okay.
So one final question before we wrap up. So you've helped empower people to understand how you balanced work and the part-time and building your business at the same time. And what would you say is, and I think you said it in the beginning, like investing in yourself and being willing to believe is like the thing that actually moved you forward. And again, sometimes that's how it happens. Like your
Right.
willingness to invest in yourself and say yes to yourself is like the universe's like doorway to then give you what you're looking for. But what would you say is like the one thing that you believe is working the most for you now?
Um, Honestly, I do really feel like that's it.
Yeah.
Because my willingness to put myself out there and my, really just taking the belief and doing this. And I feel like that's what's motivating me to take this next step now. Like, I don't know. I'm scared about, bringing on another person and having that responsibility and how is all that going to work. But I just know that it's what I need to do. And I'm just kind of taking that leap of faith a little bit. I think if you're constantly waiting for everything to work out for you,
Mhm.
potentially it will never happen, and I think you just have to be willing to whatever it is that's scaring you the most, I guess, if it's the financial commitment, if it's putting yourself out there, whatever it is, I feel like you kind of have to just make yourself go through it, or just
Mhm.
sit in that like uncomfortable thing for a few minutes, and you have to be willing to take that on. Whatever's that one saying is, they say that whatever, something about, nothing, things that are great. I mean, nothing, it's never easy or something like that.
Right.
Like, you definitely have to be willing to do like some of the hard stuff, either take on that financial risk a little bit that scares you, or put yourself out there. Whatever the thing is that's toughest for you, that's probably the thing that will make
Yes.
a difference for you.
Yes. So important. And I'm even like being reminded myself of, the things that we have to do. And it's about visibility, because visibility and is about believing in yourself and investing in yourself, in the growth of where you want to be. And that comes from, believing in yourself. So the believing in yourself, it's been quite a thread of a theme this week, which is fascinating. So we do have some like practical strategical things, right? She said she was networking before, she's still doing it.
Yeah.
And she knows who her clients are. She doesn't have 18 different, you know ideal client avatars. She kind of like has honed in on one, which we talked about that yesterday in the free workshop that I did. Like, you really have to have clarity on these ideal clients and not try to, you know, go go after, so to speak, like six different types of client at one time, because it's such a distraction and pulls you in so many directions. It really delays the outcomes. So, all right.
Well, and
So
I think too, probably the last thing I'd say on that, actually, in
yeah.
answer to that question, is the networking. And don't give up on the networking, because, I thought I was networking for 2 years for this other business, that I was kind
Mhm.
of really playing with. I wasn't really like full in on a business. It was really kind of like a side thing. I think, I was networking for so long thinking there was no return, and you don't really know when the return's going to happen. And
Yes.
and there's not a lot of people that I directly networked with that hired me, but they referred to me, and that's, you know what I mean, that's where it came from. So even if you think the networking is not working, just keep being authentic and just keep doing it, because it just doesn't come when you think it's going to come, but it will come
Correct.
back around.
Correct. It's networking is not a short game. It is a long game. And it is literally happening behind the scenes that you're not even aware of. And you just have to believe that what you're doing is working, and making sure that
Right.
you're doing it in the right ways and consistently, and following up and nurturing those relationships long term. And when you do that, magic happens.
Right.
So, all right. So, thank you all so much for being here with us this week. This has been super fun to interview everyone this week. And there were so many other people that we couldn't get to because, 5 days is enough for Kelly to be at her desk at 9 a.m. And I'm always at my desk at 9 a.m., but not always raring to go. Um,
Yeah.
so thank you all so much for being here with us. I hope you enjoyed our inspiration series, and I hope to see many of you at our upcoming event, Spark Live. And you can, of course, get your tickets at conciergeacademy.com/Spark Live. And we hope to see you there in March, live, virtually, from the comfort of your own home. Until next time, my friends, bye for now.
Bye.